Hello everybody, my name is Christian Rodriguez. Welcome to Boss Talk, where we only interview bosses that are successful in their industries. And today on our podcast, we have a very, very, very special guest that goes by the name of JC. And a little bit, he's going to be talking about his personal life, work, business life, the whole 9 yards, if you will. So earlier you mentioned that you had a team. Mm-hmm. Obviously you started as an investor, realtor, loan officer, problem solver now. And you mentioned that, that if you want to be successful in life, you got to be a problem solver. Mm-hmm. And now as far as your business goes, how many people do you employ?
Right now it's about between 10 and 12 people.
10 to 12 people?
Yeah.
And when you first started your team, I'm going to go ahead and assume it wasn't 12 people, right?
No, it was just myself.
Okay. Now, a lot of times, like, people look at businesses and business owners and like, oh my gosh, you're so successful, right? But they forget that they're human beings, right? Now, what's one failure that you can share with the audience that you experience while being a business owner? What's one failure? I'm sure you probably have maybe a couple, but what's one or two that comes off, off the top of your head?
I think it goes back to mindset, right? So when you're gonna grow, there's gonna be mistakes, right?
Right.
I'm calling failures. It's more like learning experiences, right?
Okay.
And the more you make, the more you realize you're growing. Right? Because if you're not making mistakes, you're not growing, as they say. So, it's little nuances from applications, human errors on application names, loan amounts, just different, how you communicate to a client, asking the client the right questions. It's going to happen, right? So most of my team, a lot of them are new in the business, but they're very talented, they're gifted, and they're driven. But like Gary Vee says, it's like if you're not making mistakes, then there's something wrong, right?
That's good.
And so for us, I embrace it, and I think it goes back to having that mindset. If you don't have the mindset, you're going to drown as a business owner because you're going to think that every time you're making a mistake, it's something bad, but it's not. It's good. It's almost like a gift in disguise.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's like this invisible, hidden kind of jewel that is somewhere in there, but you just got to find it, tweak the mistake that you made, and then adjust and pivot and go from there, right?
And no matter what happens, it's your fault at the end of the day. Right, so if your people make a mistake, it's on you, because you didn't coach them or teach them. So it's like a win-win. It's like a mirror kind of situation.
Okay,
right?
So you definitely got to be accountable as a business. You got to be accountable. 110%. There's no he messed up and it's kind of my fault, but they should have known. It's maybe it's their fault. Bottom line is, I'm the one that takes all the heat because I'm the business owner.
Right.
And it's my fault for maybe not training them right or whatever the case may be. You take full responsibility for it, right?
The teamwork at the end. Yeah, you're the face. When things are good, it's everybody wins, and when things are bad, it's like you messed up. It's your fuck up. But I think it's a good way of being a leader, and two, being humble about the experience, right?
Right.
If you're not ready for that journey, that mindset, you're gonna think everything in reverse, right? So yeah, point being is, you learn. I welcome mistakes, because if there's no mistakes, then I worry. It's like a deal. If I have a deal and it's super clean and squeaky, nothing's going on, there's always a hiccup. I'd rather have it in the beginning and the middle than at the end.
Yeah.
That's just part of the journey,
100%.
Mm-hmm.
So you mentioned team, and what would you tell the person that they're currently by themselves, maybe they're self-employed or they just launched a business, but they're looking to grow their team, right? They're looking to expand their team, maybe even scale their business, but the bottom line is they're looking, hopefully scale their business, but what advice can you give to that person that has started a business or is thinking of starting a business and wants to expand and grow a team? What advice can you, tangible information that they can apply tomorrow?
Well, like I said, it's like you said earlier, you have to come at service, be willing to give value.
Okay.
Sometimes you're gonna have to take a haircut when it comes to the money you're gonna make, especially right now, the way the market is. I'm giving everybody discounts, I'm giving more value, because you have to adapt, and two, you want to pivot, right?
Yeah.
So always come at service, be humble, be accountable. Get coaching, invest in yourself in your business, and be appreciative, gratitude. Come with a mindset of gratitude.
Yeah, just a grateful spirit.
Yeah, because it takes two to tango. So if you think that it's all you and your team is just there, then you're not going to be grateful, and they're not going to appreciate it in the long term. They're not going to want to stick with you.
Right.
Because not times are always going to be good. Sometimes they're going to be tough, and that's where you get tested as a team.
Yeah, it's in the discomfort where you really grow.
Right.
100%. Okay, now, as far as loans go, okay, to try to simplify as much as possible for the audience. Obviously, there's different type of loans that we can kind of get into.
Right.
But can you briefly talk about maybe just 4 or 5 common loans that are out there? And again, I know there's hundreds, maybe not hundreds, but there's definitely, we can go on and on and on about the types of loans that are out there, beneficial for maybe first-time home buyers, investors, the list goes on, right? But bottom line is this. If I'm looking to get a home and I'm a first-time buyer,
Right.
which 2 or 3 loans would you recommend for me?
Well, if you're a first-time home buyer, the most traditional one is the FHA loan.
Okay, and what are the requirements for that?
So FHA is it's the truest, the purest first-time home buyer program. It's been around since the 1930s, so the Great Depression. It's kind of come in and phased out, especially when they had the 80-20 in the 2000s, right?
Mhm.
When everybody was buying no money down, stated. But with that one, 3.5% down on the sales price from 1 to 4 units, which is amazing.
Yeah.
And since it's a true first-time homebuyer program, it doesn't discriminate on your credit score. So you can have as low as a 580, 600, and still get pre-qualified. But obviously, you know, in the mortgage world, the higher the better the score,
Right.
the better the interest rate option, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, point being is that you can have a lot of debt, not make a lot of money, and the debt to income qualifying ratio is actually higher than your regular basic conforming or conventional loan. Percent.
Okay, so for the FHA loan, you can have as low as a 580 credit score.
580.
Obviously, the better,
The higher the better,
right?
better, right?
Yeah, and then you obviously have DTI, debt to income ratio, right? Your debt has to be kind of low, right?
Normally they want like 46, 43 at a bank. With us, you go as high as 56.9, almost 57% debt to income ratio.
That's good. Okay, awesome. And then what about jobs? How long does it have to be at a job for?
They just want a 2-year work history. A lot of banks and direct lenders, they're very strict on, you know, what specific job you've been at.
Mhm.
With us, as long as you have a 2-year work history, doesn't matter where it's at, you're golden.
Okay, and what about this? Like, let's say, dude, I got let go or I got furloughed because of the pandemic, right?
Happens all the time, yeah.
Exactly, right? Can there be any gaps in my employment?
Again, most financial institutions are pretty strict. They want like no more than like 3 months or 6 months. With us, you got almost up to a year. You just got to explain it.
You have a reason behind
Right
it.
behind it. And as
Okay.
long as you do that, it's almost like being a lawyer. If you know how to argue your case, then you're good to go.
Okay, so just to go ahead and break it down, as far as the loans goes, so there's an FHA, which is the traditional route
Yeah.
for the first-time home buyers. That's a
Right.
credit score of at least 580. Got to be at a job for at least 2 years. However, with you, it's a different scenario that maybe, let's say you got let go of furlough because of the pandemic. As long as you have a reason for it, it can go up to maybe being with
Almost a year.
for about a year as far as gaps go.
Yeah.
Okay, now what about, let's say I'm like, I don't have that much money down. Would you also recommend the FHA since it's only 3.5?
Yeah, I mean, FHA, the traditional, there's down payment assistance programs and things like that. But I always tell clients, if you don't have skin in the game, then you shouldn't be buying a house. I'm just very honest, because at the end of the day, as a professional, if they miss their payment or, you know, if they lose their house within a year, then you're pretty much at fault for that loan.
Yeah.
So things like that. But yeah, there's different type of programs. And then the other one, if you have good credit, good money, then conventional 5% down.
And what are the
traditional?
What are the so for the FHA was a 580?
Yeah, 580.
Okay. Now, what credit score do you have for a conventional loan?
Conventional, they normally ask for between 620, 640, but obviously with the way the market is, you want to have over 700.
Over 700 for a conventional loan. And same thing, be at a job for at least 2 years, but with you, different story.
Right.
Okay, awesome. Now, this might be like a little bit of advance for people that are watching this for the first time and are maybe thinking of buying their first home. However, there is this thing called the cash out refi.
Right.
Okay, and a lot of investors use it, right?
Right.
Now, the way that, if you can explain just in like 2 or 3 ways how a cash out refi works.
Right. So cash out refinance is when you have a certain amount of equity, usually it has to be over 20% of your home. You could take out a certain amount and then utilize that. I always advise you utilize it to remodel your house or reinvest in another property to build your portfolio.
Okay.
Sometimes I tell clients not to do debt consolidation, but it happens. But technically, you can use it for whatever you want. It's tax free. You don't get taxed on it because it's your own money, pretty much.
Okay. So pretty much, you own it. You gotta be a homeowner.
Homeowner.
And then there has to be equity.
Right.
For those of you that maybe do not know how what that may look like, equity is very simple. It's pretty much the value of your home versus how much you owe. So right now the market has shot up like crazy, so a lot of people have equity. So let's say you bought a home in 2020 for $600,000, and now hypothetically speaking, it's priced at $800,000. Now you have $200,000 to play with. Is that correct?
Correct.
And so what you would do in a cash out refi scenario, you would pull that money out, and then you would go ahead and place it towards the down payment on the home, right?
Right.
Right. Okay. So that's kind of the game for a lot of people, is just the cash out refi. I like to ask everybody this question: how do you define success?
Success is what makes you happy. And success is what makes you fulfilled. I think Tony Robbins said that if you're living life and you're not feeling fulfilled, then you're a failure at living life, right? So to me, that's what it is: being happy, being joyful, fulfilling, having to do what you want when you want.
Right.
Not just freedom, not just living, but experiencing life.
Okay, so freedom and happiness. You gotta have that freedom. Do you think money is like one of those pieces of
It's a tool. It's a tool. It's not the all be all. Like, I know, like Snoop Dogg one time said, if you're doing a certain, like, say, like rapping or something for the money, then you're never going to be happy because you're going to be chasing it.
Yeah.
So it's like real estate, right? Like you always see the people that are balling for a couple weeks, couple months. They go through that phase, and then all of a sudden, I'm going through an epiphany. I'm gonna start a new journey now, a new career, right?
Yeah, I was like, no, bro, you haven't had a transaction in 6 months.
So point is, as long as you do things for value driven, right? Really helping people. The thing about me, I could close 15, 20 deals in a month, but it's not about that anymore. It's about my team feeling happy, feeling accomplished. And then when a client calls me, they're crying because they couldn't get a deal done, and we were able to make it happen, you know? Mm-hmm. To me, that's the biggest joy of this journey, is helping people grow, coaching them, and then spending time with family, man. That to me is success.
All right, so it's, for you, success, and obviously I'm going to paraphrase it, it's having the freedom, be able to dictate your own life when you want, how you want it, happiness, truly being happy inside, spending time with your family, super essential.
Your loved ones, yeah.
Okay, loved ones, okay, perfect. And then advice that you can give to the audience for the person that is freaking overcompensating, not dwelling, but for the person that's overthinking, overcompensating about starting the business, or for the person that just started the business, what just general advice can you give to that person that's either thinking of starting a business or that has already started a business?
I think it's what we said is you got to invest in yourself.
Invest in yourself.
You got to find somebody who's willing to coach you. If you don't have a coach, you don't have a guide, you're going to be lost, right?
Yeah.
It's like having a ship with no direction. So having goals, coaching, and sacrifice.
Okay.
You know, if you're not willing to, or have those three elements, it's going to be a challenging road to that success, right? That finish line.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Awesome. All right, and then just last thing, relationships. We like to talk about relationships, right? If you can discuss your relationship status.
Well, before I talk about that, right? It's my niche in any business. You want to have, it has to be relationship driven.
Uh-huh.
So if I ever, in my personal life, I have a relationship, they have to understand that I have relationships with all my clients, with all my business partners. Yeah. Because it cannot just be transactional.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think going beyond that, like I have my good friends. Brian here today. We're hanging out. We close a few deals and we celebrate.
You can say hi to the camera if you want.
Yeah. Is Brian right here?
Tell me a little bit. First name and what do you do?
Hey, what's up? I'm Brian Cruz. I'm a real estate agent.
Yes.
That's all I do.
So there you go. So you gotta appreciate the successes and the challenges. And I feel when you have that in your life and you see that with your business, it goes beyond that because it's not always gonna be good and green. Sometimes there's gonna be hiccups. Sometimes things are not gonna go through. But as long as you have that understanding that we're human and we're here for the long term, then I think that'll take you to a long run. Now, in regards to personal relationships, same thing. They have to understand that it's a long-term game. Yeah. Sometimes you're not going to see that person, maybe once or twice a week. Obviously, you try to work on it, but it's a challenge. It's a sacrifice, right?
Yeah.
And so kind of right now with me, it's my business, my family, and then personal. That's kind of how I've chosen my path, and this is where I'm at today because of those choices.
Okay. And then just last question here, kind of random, all right? Nothing to do with business. Just, have you heard the term Toxica?
Yeah.
How would you define a Toxica, or maybe like a red flag in a Toxica?
I had an experience a couple years ago. Dated an individual like that, I would say.
A Toxica.
But it makes you understand. It's fun. It's an adventure, but it's not sustainable.
Nunca duermes in peace. Yeah. Nunca.
From experience, so yeah, that's my 2 cents on that.
Okay, awesome. All right, well, JC obviously is running business. Guys, has to go to the next thing. But anyways, my name is Christian Rodriguez. This is JC. Once again, can you let them know the company that you're with, that you own, and then best phone number to contact you?
Sure. So JC Andrade, mortgage loan consultant. Call myself a magician. Here at First Choice Lending Downey. You can reach me at 213-215-1045 or IG on JC_Andrade_.
There it is. So once again, everybody, my name is Christian Rodriguez. Thank you so much for watching Boss Talk with our special guest, JC. Catch us on our next podcast. Thank you again for tuning in. If you do me a huge, huge favor, like, subscribe, or comment, I would appreciate that. That being said, you guys have a great one.
Oh,
There you go.
Good job, man. Appreciate it.